Yeah. So for structuralists, they believe the two approaches are nice, but because sociology itself is going to tell us, is trying to understand how the society is. So it needs an approach. So the interpretivists, they have their own approach. They have their own ideology. The structuralists, they have their own approach. They have their own ideology. So for structuralists, they study the macro, which means they believe that whatever happens in the society, whatever happens, is the society that makes it happen. They don't focus on individuals. You know, we have individuals in the society and we have the society. So the structuralists, they focus on the society. They believe individuals cannot do anything. It is the society that makes them to do whatever they are doing. Is it clear? So structuralists, yeah, approaches focus on a large scale, which I just explained now. They focus on the institutions rather than individuals. So here, socialists, they focus on the institution rather than individual. So here they said, socialists see society as a set of structure in which individuals play definite roles. In this approach, it is the social roles and the actions that people carry out in fulfilling these roles that are important, not the individuals themselves. So, for structuralists, they believe what you do to that society, your own quota, your own function, your own role, combined with other people's role, is what matters, not who you are. Do you get what I'm saying here? All right, so here sociologists use these theories to discover social structures that may be hidden from individuals. A well-known example of a structuralist approach is the work of Emily Duncan. This is Emily Duncan, who studies about suicide. Published over 100 years. He chose to study suicide. He wanted to show it is linked to the way societies are organized. Duncan noticed that suicide rate, the proportion of the population who committed suicide in each year in country did not change much. However, there were significant differences in suicide rates between countries. Durkheim would try to show that social forces, who are the social forces? Individuals, governments, everything cut across the society, lay behind individuals' action, like suicide. These social forces led to different suicide rates. A social force, for example, is a connection between individuals and the support network, such as your family, religious organization. Strong connection leads to lower suicide rates, and weak connection leads to higher rates. So Emily Durkheim believes if there is a strong connection between the individual and the society and the family or the religious group, suicide will be less. Because before you think about committing suicide, someone would have seen you. You would have talked to somebody to calm you down. So suicide rate increases in societies that there's a loose between the family and that individual. There's no strong relationship, strong connection between that individual that committed the suicide and its family. That's what Emily Duncan is saying, that if the society is in contact, if there's connection, a strong connection between the society and that individual who feel like committing suicide, he would or she would not commit suicide. So most of the time, people who commit suicide, no one is always around. It is afterwards, it is when it is done, that people, you see them. That's what Emily Duncan is saying. Are you getting it? Yes. So that means the society. So Emily Duncan is more of a structuralist. He believes it is the society that is disconnecting itself from the people. Do you get it? Yes. The society is disconnecting itself from the people. That's why the people is moving away. So not the individual that committed the suicide. It is the society that makes that individual to commit the suicide. That is what Emily Duncan is saying. Is it clear?
Yes.
So now, they said Duncan was working within the framework of the positivist that is used in the natural science, like other structuralists he looked for. So then, we have correlation and causation between variables. So according to the structuralist approach, individuals have little freedom of thought, That means what their actions are, what they can think about. So society controls our lives. Individuals are puppets, and hidden social forces are pulling the strings that make individuals behave as they do. So that means there's a society that pulls the string. So we are puppets. That means wherever the society brings us, wherever the society takes us to, that's where we head to.
It's right.
It's right. When we read about interpretivists, you're going to say the same thing. Do you understand? It's very interesting now. For social consensus, they said this is when people generally share values and there are no major disagreement between the main group. But this could only happen if in that group they have almost the same wealth. They have the same interest. Do you get what I'm saying here? You can't be rich, so rich, and I be so poor, and you want me to share the same value with you.
Value of what?
Do you get what I'm saying here? There's only social consensus when we are talking about a group that have almost similar wealth. Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yes.
They have the same status and the same power. Almost the same. That is when we can talk about social consensus. If not, we will not agree. I will believe you are saying what you're saying because you are rich. I will believe you are saying what you are saying because of your status. I will believe you are saying what you are saying because you don't have power. If you had the power, maybe you won't be saying what you are saying. Do you get what I'm talking about here? So for social consensus, it will only happen in a society where they have the same or common wealth, status, and power. Is social consensus clear? So on the perspective side, how you view the social consensus and the social conflict is what perspective is. Do you get it? So what makes you to think there's a consensus here? Or what makes you to think, oh, it's all about conflict? That is your own perspective. Do you understand? So I think social consensus is clear now. So people will only agree if they share the same or common wealth, status, and power. Do you think so? You think so, right? Great. So now we go to social conflict. Should I write about it here?
Yes.
Okay. So, social consensus. There will only be social consensus if members of the group share common wealth, status, and power. Is it clear? Now we go to social conflicts. So for social conflict, this occurs when major disagreements arise about important issues, such as wealth, status, and power. So there's a consensus. We have social consensus because there's agreement in wealth, power, and status. So if we don't agree on how to share wealth, how to share power, how to share status, then there will be conflict. Because when you check through the society is built on status, wealth, and power. Yes or no? So that means if we agree on wealth, status, and power, then we'll be able to have our leader. We'll be able to have a president. But because we don't agree on status, we don't agree on how to share the power, we don't agree on how to share the wealth, then there's conflict. Don't you see the conflicts now? The Bible and Bashaga. Why? There's conflict, social conflict. What are they fighting for? Status. What are they fighting for? Power. What are they fighting for? Wealth. So how you manage the wealth of the nation, if it is not agreed upon, then there's a social conflict. Do you understand now? Do you understand the difference between social consensus and social conflict?